How's it? I'm Honan,
I'm Oliver.
and today is our Queendom round 3 recap. Is that what we would call it? Or it's round 2,
It's
technically,
round
huh?
two. Yeah,
Yeah,
call it,
round 2.
call it
Yeah,
that.
that's right. Round 2 recap, which was the cover round. And, does that let you know how I feel about it? And does that express my feelings of the cover round? Like, I
I
feel,
think
what
that's kind of
is.
everyone's feelings, right? Like a
Mhm.
lot of people were had mixed feelings.
I feel like the original Queendom was giving me high expectations for the cover round. I feel like because there's still
Mm,
things I always remember from the cover round of the original Queendom, and this cover round in general just feels like something forgettable to me.
mm.
Like overall, when I think of all of them together, there was some really good performances in there, but I think there's just like when I think of them all together, each performance, there's nothing that's going to be super memorable to me like the first Queendom season was.
Yeah, I think watching the original Kingdom stages back after having watched the episodes, it was like there's nothing that quite hit on the same level as like Destiny
Mm-hmm.
or Egotistic, but obviously they're done in slightly different ways, and I feel like perhaps they push themselves a bit more in a regard, but then they don't let the songs shine through as much. I think there's cool stuff in the stages that we didn't see in the first Queendom, but it's kind of at a cost of not vibing with the song as much.
Yeah, song choices were definitely a big part of it. None of the songs were like any of my like absolute favorites of any of the artists, to listen
But
to.
that was true for me for Queendom One as well. I think it's just like the way they were done was so good in
Yeah,
comparison. But well,
I
just
do
kidding.
always remember like AOA's adaptation of Egotistic, and then Lovely's adaptation of or no, I'm sorry, it was Oh My Girl's adaptation, right?
Yeah.
Of Destiny, which is like something that's always memorable from that round one. Which I'm trying to think, maybe I will probably remember Hyolan being Catwoman for a long time, but yeah, Luna's too, which had like an interesting, memorable aspect of it. But my biggest problem overall with the whole kind of show so far has been like the idea that everyone wants to song switch all the time. They want to do this thing where we're gonna throw the chorus from another song in the middle of this song or something like that, and I feel like that's just like something, it works good if it's like a one-off kind of thing in a series, but it's happening a lot during
Hmm.
Queendom 2 where it's like we're gonna switch song up halfway
Yeah.
through on you every time, and that doesn't make something instantly unique and enjoyable. Just when you do that, it's got to be really well done.
It has to be very well executed. Yeah, I think maybe because it's partly like a trend, it's a
Yeah.
trending kind of thing. We've seen in just in like K-pop in general that like that kind of thing is especially popular. Like if you consider like stuff like aespa and NMIX as having had like a drastic change up, maybe
Yeah.
it's like beyond that trend. And also maybe just trying to cover a wide base and appeal to a lot of things. Like, oh, we have to include this, and then we might get more attention, more of a reaction, whatever it might be.
But I feel like song switching was something that just SM Entertainment was always good at, like switching a vibe on
Mm.
you in a song. Whereas I feel like when a lot of other people are trying to go for, I guess I'm going to call it like the SM vibe or something, it doesn't always seem to work as well, like in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
I guess we should start kind of in order of how the performances happened, which off the top of my head, I watched them out of order afterwards. I watched like my favorite to like least favorite. It was started this time with WJSN, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, doing Navalera. So I
Yes.
guess if we're starting with WJSN and the opinion on that, I think consistently through this whole series, WJSN has just been solid, and they've not done anything where I'm like, okay, that was like terrible, or I didn't enjoy that at all, or anything through the whole
Yeah.
show. They've been my favorite through the first two things that happened, the intro performances and round one.
Yeah.
In this particular cover round, I would say they're somewhere like second, third for me. I
Okay.
did like that they tried to make Novelera different and edgier, but it's hard to make that song edgy in my opinion, because it's very
Yes.
cute kind of sounding, maybe is the right word, or a happy, I guess cheerful sounding is like the right word for it.
Yeah. Yeah. The way that they approached the concept, or the concept they chose for it, um, was an odd pairing, because they started off with like, it was like the kind of controlling like marionette type witches sort of
Yeah.
thing, and it looked like it was perfectly set up for to be like a similar concept to how GFriend did Apple,
Mm.
and I think Apple would have been a really good song choice for that concept. Perhaps it would have been too similar to the original. Maybe that's why, or something. But I mean, I imagine they chose the song before they chose the concept, so I don't fully understand why they chose that concept for the song. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, actually, I don't know why I was wrong when I said second, third, because I have them in fourth. I have my list spread out.
Okay.
So I think just because I really like WJSN, I don't want to put them like lower than second or third. But now that I'm thinking where I ranked everything, yes, they were fourth, because I never feel like that fully worked. The style of it,
Right.
like Novelera with a little bit of edge, just never fully grabbed me.
Yeah.
I thought their performance was good. I thought their singing was good,
Yes.
and the stage
Singing
was
was great.
entertaining. The style of the song done that way was not doing it for me.
Yeah. There was some decisions in the arrangement of the song I couldn't get behind. Like, Nevalera is such a fast, like up tempo song, right? And they slowed it right down.
Yeah.
Um, and I was kind of thinking, oh, we're gonna start off like in halftime, and then we're gonna like build up and increase the tempo, and which will make like a final part hit. But instead, they just kind of stayed at that same tempo the whole time, and it just kind of left me wanting to listen to the original song, which is not what a good cover.
No, yeah.
Right.
Well, they took away my favorite part, which is right from the start. That song's such a banger because it has that drum roll, like and that held guitar note. Like they took away such an impactful part of the song, which is the beginning of it.
Yeah. They just kind of eased into it rather than giving us that like, baff. Oh, we're doing Nevalera kind of thing.
They could have made it like. They could have power chorded behind it, made it heavy kind of feeling, like more rock or something, and it wouldn't have been terrible to do if it was still upbeat or whatever. Like, it was still had the pacing, and then they just had a darker, heavier, upbeat version. But I think that's maybe hard to do choreography-wise, because they tried to make the dancing a little more complicated with, it was Yordam, right? Had like a breakdown happen with the dance and everything, which was cool. I don't know that it was as impactful as they wanted it to be, having the whole dance breakdown.
Yeah, like there was stuff that I thought like really an interesting and good addition. I thought was the rap. I was wondering. I think we speculated before, like, oh, are they going to include a rap because
Xy's rap, right?
And so Xy dropped a good verse, and I thought she delivered it well, and it didn't seem out of place in the song. Like it fit. Yoram's dance break was like, she danced well, but like you say, it didn't add that much to the performance. It was just like, she's doing this now, and then they kind of just rode on the back of Yeonjung's belting to see them over the line. I think one thing that really jarred me each time was they added that like post chorus. They did like the drop it now, and then they have that. I'm not going to try and emulate the sound of that line, and then they do like that which is okay. And they do like the like a butterfly got the pea, what, like, okay, cool. I didn't mind that, but then Unsa delivers she was like na 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 like, and like she's trying to make the words fit the time, and it sounded really clumsy. And like, that's not really her fault. That's just how the arrangement of the song had like lined up for her. But it sounded like that doesn't.
Like
'Cause
someone
I'm so
fast
used to
forwarding her saying it or something kind of
yeah,
feeling to
and
it.
I'm
Yeah.
so used to the like original. Na, 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 na. I can't know. Oh, that was not time.
Yeah, so the original has such good
Yeah,
pacing to it, like how the lyrics hit with the upbeat vibe of the song, and they took that away. Like
yeah,
they took away the best feeling that you get listening to the song, which is how much that lyric slaps with the upbeat tempo of the song. And they like made it kind of move all over the place. It's interesting. I feel like people these days are getting too focused on like tempo switches being interesting or something, and
mm,
sometimes that doesn't make a song better to listen to. Like if I wanted to hear tempos being changed all the time, I would listen to prog metal all day or something, you know. Like it doesn't
I
always
also would
make a
have
song more
accepted
interesting.
Tempo by EXO as an answer. But
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but tempo switches in a song can be really cool. But the issue I had there is that there wasn't a switch. They just slowed the original down and then just
Yeah.
stayed at that. You know, yeah. So it's just well, I remember when I saw it, I was just like, ah, that was kind of mid. Like that was my reaction, and
I
like you, I had WJSN pretty highly after the first couple performances, and I was left kind of like, ah, this wasn't their best effort. So
I still can't like rank them bad or have a bad feeling towards it though, because I feel like nothing performance wise was really bad about it. Like their singing live is really good, and
yeah,
then their dancing is really good as well. I feel like they're really in sync with each other as a
yeah,
group. Like so, there's nothing I could be like, okay, that was like. It's just the structure of the song wasn't enjoyable the
yeah,
way they did
yeah,
that. So like performance wise though, I feel like they've been super solid the whole show. In
yeah.
fact, if anything, I feel like people will feel a lot better about them as a group after Queendom just because their live vocals and dance in my opinion have been really high tier the whole time. So
Yeah, well, let's hope so, right? But I feel like they need to have their destiny moment, right?
yeah.
They need to do pantomime. I swear, they do pantomime, everything will change.
Well, they have one round to win left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So we
wouldn't
got
be
the.
surprised, honestly, at this point if Hyolan just kind of sweeps the whole show.
I mean, it's looking like that, right?
It
It's
is.
certainly looking like it's going to be.
Remember that when we first kind of talked about it, it's like, oh, there's another solo artist or something, and then now she's just like dominating the whole thing.
Well, but it was always like, oh, this is solo artist, but it's Hyolyn, so
Yeah.
like, yeah.
It's interesting though. Overall, I think you and me kind of agree on that one though. Like, I can't fault the actual performance of it, but just the song structure was kind of meh.
Yeah. So I honestly I haven't like decided on my concrete ranking yet. I have my top three and my bottom three, and WJSN are in my bottom three, but I don't know exactly where. And I think probably after discussing the others in over the course of the episode, I will have decided. So stay tuned for that, everyone. If you want to hear my ranking, you have to wait till the end.
So next we have Luna.
Yeah.
Which my official ranking that I made, I have Luna at second. And that is their performance and Hyolin's are like the ones I remember the most vividly, like remember.
Yeah.
And I feel like because Luna at least had a really consistent theme and they executed that in my opinion really well. Like it's very
Definitely.
musical style, and I thought there was just interesting moments, Chu being pulled along like that and stuff. Like it's very, and Chu had like some funny things too where she was like saying no to the outfits and stuff. Like it was really well executed, like the acting of it. The song structure for this one again was not my favorite. It's like cute version of Sistar, I guess is what I would call it. Like
Yeah.
which is interesting because Sistar in my opinion was so like sexy. Like I guess you'd say, right? Like really
And
sexy
even
style.
even though Shake It was kind of like a kind of brighter concept, it was still like it's very like summer sexy kind of vibe. Yeah.
Which I guess you could say Luna did it in their own style since they did make it cute They did make it feel
Yeah,
cute.
I wouldn't say it was cute per se. I would say it was bright, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
like cheerful. Cheerful's like the right
yeah,
word. Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. Basically, I think I thought that the concept was really well chosen and well executed because it's kind of a risk, right? Like, but they incorporated, I think, the elements of that song being just like, oh, like have fun and shake it, as it were.
Hmm.
They incorporated that really well, and then it was like the kind of the cliche but like funny story of like, oh, look at these like plain girls in their boring clothes with the glasses, and then they like take the glasses off, and it's like, wow, they're hot now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
like
oh my god, Jinsol was hot the whole time or something
like
like
wow,
that.
Hansel looks incredible. Well, who thought? Yeah, it it was cool. It was a funny, just a fun and like enjoyable performance to watch.
It,
Um,
the members they picked to do the specific vibes and stuff was really well chosen as well.
yes,
Like Chu in the suit style, not really kind of becoming one of the ones who like tears off, versus like the members they knew if they switched from the nerdy look was gonna be really
yeah,
impactful. You know, like it
yeah,
was well
exactly.
done.
And I thought, I mean, I remember talking before about how I was really hoping that each member would have more of a chance to shine, and I thought that this did a really good job of that.
Yeah.
Especially like Go On's part when the skit that you mentioned, where Chu is like deciding on the outfit. I
Mm.
thought Go On was killing
Yeah.
that part. Like, and there's parts of that performance that have stuck in my head, like I keep visualizing it, especially towards the end. Cherry's like, "Thank you louder," like that bit.
Yeah.
That is ingrained in my brain, and I can't I cannot unsee it. I thought they did a great job of utilizing the space as well.
Yes,
Like they
definitely.
brought members out to the front and then moved around the stage and used the space really well. Um, and generally, yeah, it was a really cool performance. I thought it's exactly, it felt like a Queendom performance, right?
I could almost put them number one. Really, it's because like I think maybe after like time, you know, has gone and the whole show's done and everything, that might be like from the cover round like the thing I remember the most for sure.
Yeah, yeah. When you said at the start that there wasn't much memorable, I was visualizing when Exy gave that as the reason for why they didn't vote. They put Luna below them, and,
Yeah,
and all of Luna were looking at them like, "Bruh, you for real? Not memorable."
we had the most clear storyline and everything going on in our performance. It's like
Yeah, it's just, they were like one step away from just being like, "Nah, she's capping. She's capping." Like,
and the so I guess before we actually even move on and still discuss Luna, I want to talk about that like voting, the group voting system, like picking one above, one lower. I hate
yeah,
that. I hate
yeah.
that whole part of the show. I like my brain wants to churn off when that part of the show comes on where they have to pick one below and one higher.
I
It's
don't understand because this has been a thing since the start, right? But I don't understand why they now give them the option to not pick anyone above them
mm,
because it's like, what's the point? It stops being an interesting. It stops being interesting because I feel like in the first season it was at least more interesting that everyone had to rate someone who they thought was better, and it basically gave everyone more points in a way.
yeah.
Um, it just doesn't. It ends up feeling much more combative.
It's a way to create like fake drama, is what it feels like in the show. You know,
Yeah,
it's like here we need a little bit of like fake drama spice. You know, so here
yeah,
have you
and,
vote below you and above you. You know,
and
like
in the first season, everyone recognized that, and obviously they do recognize that in this one as well. But because they had to pick one above and one below, it became just kind of like almost like a joking thing, and it was just like a way for the group, and the groups were like laughing about it and stuff, and like,
yeah.
you know, except for the first episode where Hyojin was reduced to tears. But apart from that, it was like, that was a really, I thought it, the way the members interacted with that rule was like, it made it entertaining. But this one is just kind of like, ugh. You see them clearly just trying to game, basically, just like, oh, these performers were, this was really good and better than us, so let's say that it was lower, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And it just becomes like, I don't want to see them trying to game each other to get points. I want to see them having a good time and enjoying performing, you know?
In my opinion, this aspect of the show too is what kind of creates the worst outlook on a group afterwards of the show too,
Yeah,
because I've already seen the comments and stuff where people get upset about like a group kind of laughing and agreeing together to pick who's below them or something, you know, and then everyone
yeah,
kind of gets a bad opinion of the whole group because of that moment. But it's like they don't really have a choice. They have to, you know, like Sin B you saw too, where they were kind of just like, I'll go with what you pick, you know, which I thought she
yeah,
handled it hilariously. She's like, "Can I put us like below them or something?"
yeah,
You know, she's kind of avoided Mnet's evil
yeah,
editing, as
yeah.
they
Like,
call it.
did you notice like what they had like when they arrived, and she had a phone,
It
and it
said
just
like
said,
she's happy or
it's
something,
like
right?
I'm in a good mood, but we nabbed in the car, yeah. And
Hmm.
then they had like the little signs that they held up when they were reacting. So they held up a
Hmm.
sign, be like, "I'm focusing now," stuff like that. Like, I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Well, because Sinbi does have a face, like, you know, where
He's
someone
RBF.
looks. Yeah, yeah. It's like you think someone can be upset when they have that kind of look sometimes, but
Yeah,
it's not that emotion that they're feeling at all. So it's like it's just funny. But Mnet, you know, when they see her just sitting statically, they're always probably focusing and trying to get that moment, you know.
yeah, yeah. But it is. That's just Mnet, right? That it is what
Yeah,
it is.
it's expected at this point. So it's like,
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Closing thoughts on Luna. I think it partly because of the way that it was mixed. Though it was kind of hard to hear like a lot of the vocals, or like the live vocals, because they were definitely singing live, but it was like it wasn't as like loud as
mm.
WJSN was, for example. Um, and I thought that was a shame, but I think that's just kind of the way that Mnet processed the
That's
vocals.
happened twice now though, because with like Paint the Town, there was like a bad kind of audio mix and stuff as well
Yeah, I mean, for
overall.
that one, I understood because it's like a different stage and filming and whatnot. But this one, again, it was just kind of like, oh, like I want to be able to hear them, you know, I want to hear them over it, and you could
Mm.
only really you hear that when it was like the spoken parts.
I'm
That
trying to think of what would be like a reason that they're having such a difference in audio between certain performances like that. And like the only thing with Luna I can think of is because there's so many members or whatever. Like when they're doing the sound check and all
maybe
that
they want
stuff.
them all on
But
the same level. Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting because there's certain members like Chu and Olivia Hye and Hee Jin who get a lot more vocal parts. I feel like sometimes where
mm.
you would expect maybe if they have a high note or something, they're just a little bit louder, you know, like rather than just like
Yeah.
an
I mean,
even vocal mix.
there again, that song doesn't really have any like
No, it
standout
doesn't have like a
parts
big
like that, so
note part.
it's kind of more understandable. But it just I want to hear I want to hear voices, you know, like that's part of the appeal. So
I think Paint the Town's the one I'm thinking more specifically, where like
yeah,
Chu has that kind of moment, you know, of the high note, and you want that to be experienced at full volume, and they really like kind of deadened that
yeah,
entire note. Well, yeah.
yeah,
Overall, even though that song, the stylistically the way it was done was not my favorite, I think they had such a good, memorable performance that I rate them very highly for it.
yeah. I agree. And definitely was like a oh yeah, like Luna is here and ready to play now after the first round.
Yeah,
Um, and it's like cool. I look forward to seeing what they do next. You know.
definitely. I'm very interested in what the final round songs will be and stuff when they get to that. They're gonna do
Yeah.
the whole mixed group thing first, right? Next
Yep.
time, which will be really interesting as well, because that brought out in the original Queendom that had the best arc of the whole show. That had Kay and
Okay,
Hwasa, you
what's
know, yeah, like I hope there's that moment in something kind of like that in this season.
Yeah, well, we of course got teased that it's going to be involved with Street Woman Fighter,
Mm.
because we saw Monica and Honey J and Lashika involved. We don't know what their involvement is, if they're going to be mentors like how Leah Kim was for the dance group on the first season, or if it's going to be like they're actually going to collaborate and will and perform on stage with them. Uh, could be either. I've also heard rumors. I think this would be really dumb if true, and I would be really mad about it. And I don't think they'll do it. But I've heard rumors that Mnet is gonna pull a fast one and get all of the vocalists and all the dancers sent to their units, and then say, okay, all the dancers are doing the vocal performance and all the singers are doing the dance performance.
But that would like totally defeat the point.
It would be against the point of the show
Yeah.
entirely. So I don't really believe that that's true, but I've heard quite a few people saying that. But I think
really hope that doesn't happen, because that would suck. Because then you don't get like the real like great vocal performance and dance performance that you want out of
you literally get worse performances.
Yeah.
like, why do you want that?
I am looking forward to. I feel like this season with the vocal and dance performances can have some really amazing crossovers because of like the talent levels that are there. It's going to be awesome, in my opinion, to see. But I haven't seen Street Woman Fighter, but I know what it is. Like, I know what show you're talking about.
Yeah.
But so it'll be interesting. I don't actually know anyone from the show or anything, but I know what it is.
Yeah, they're all extremely badass women.
Nice.
Basically, yeah. Very
so is
cool,
like Chu gonna be like with a drill instructor? Like, we still
kind of like the very opposite of like someone who's like adorable and cute. They're just like these like fierce women. Yeah. But they're cool. I've seen a few bits of content that they've had with other idols, like Honey J, and her group Holy Bang did a thing with Wonho, that was really funny because like Wonho was the cutest out of all of them, which says a lot. And they were all being like, "Oh, why are you so cute, bro? What the hell?"
That's funny.
And there's like the man mountain that is Wonho being adorable.
I wonder if they'll melt for someone like Chu or something, because it seems like even the toughest of personalities completely melt, like, for like her egg yo when it happens.
Yeah, and given that there are so many like really cute people in some of these groups, between Chu and Unha and like Subin and Daeyoung and Luda. And
interestingly enough, like Chu will definitely have to be in the vocal units, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't think of dancing or whatever when I'm thinking of Chu, but like Heejin's an interesting one because I feel like she's good at both.
Yeah, I think generally Luna are really well rounded. So if they did do like that switch up, they would probably be the group that would panic less.
Yeah,
because their singers are strong dancers and vice versa. What's also funny about that is, of course, Hyolyn will have to do both. I don't think that she will have like a champion in the same way that Park Bom did.
Hyolyn though is like one of those people. It's like she can do both. It's like she doesn't have to worry on either way.
But I mean, it means that she has to cut her practice time in half, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of. I'm sure it'll be a worry for her, even though I'm sure everyone is going to have confidence that she'll body.
Imagine if she just like tagged in Taeyeon for the vocal round or something.
that would be cheating.
Yes, or like any of her like second gen contacts tagging in for the vocal round would be cheating. I feel like, because even another member of Sistar, who was the one that kind of had the sultry voice besides Hyolyn. Soyu, yeah. Even tagging like her in would almost be like cheating. I feel like, just using another Sistar member.
She could just be like, "Look, I'm gonna use the designated Black Knight of Queendom, Unji from Brave Girls." Could you
that would be hilarious.
For me?
That would be pretty funny. Yeah, because I was thinking who is going to do the dancing for Brave Girls, and of course it's gonna have to be like Unji, right?
Yeah. So Minyoung is actually a crazy dancer as well. She's like a traditionally trained or classically trained dancer. She does like traditional Korean dancing. I remember on Knowing Bro, she did like a sword dance, which was really cool.
Oh, dope.
I would love to see something like that, but I imagine she's going in the vocal units. We won't see that. Unless they end up making her do both, that would be definitely overworking the poor girl.
Oh, you think she'll go in the vocal units because she's one of the stronger ones vocally?
Yeah. I do also wonder how they're going to split things up, because, like, Luna, obviously, you've got 12 members to pick from. So are you going to send, like, 1 or 2? Like, or are they going to send, like, 3 or 4?
I feel like they'll have to, right? Otherwise, they'll make it too
it'll be really
big.
imbalanced,
Like, yeah,
right?
too.
It'd be like there'll be like a whole Luna squad in each unit with like
Yeah,
one
the
or
the
two members
disparity
getting
that
through.
them and Kepler could create of members would, I feel like they'll have to really control that between the
But
two different performances.
but maybe it might be to their detriment if they do have more members, because then they won't have like they'll have to split parts, so each member will have less time. So it could go for dancing. Where I think dancing it wouldn't matter as much, but for the vocal performance, it might make more of an issue.
Yeah, kind of making
Um,
different parts for that many vocalists is always tricky.
yeah. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. Then we have like with Viviz and Brave Girls, they have so few members. It's like is everyone going to be involved, or is like almost everyone going to be involved? And how's that going to?
Cindy is like the dancer, right? Of Viviz,
Yeah,
I believe. So yeah, I'm trying
yeah,
to. When I always thought of G Friend and like vocals, I always thought of like Yuju. So
yeah,
now I guess in the vocal rounds will be really when I see who is like the strong vocal of Viviz.
yeah. And I guess that can that can. Well, we should talk about Brave Girls first, but
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
for Vivid from
I've wanted to avoid talking about Brave Girls because it was a crime
Oh
that
my
I
god.
witnessed, and there's no one for me to report it to.
Yeah, it's a travesty, honestly. And I remember I worried about this happening at the start of the show. I remember saying like, oh, I thought that Hyolyn and Brave Girls might struggle because they just don't have that fandom weight. Um, Whereas Hyolyn has just made everyone go, yeah, fair enough with her performances. Um, Brave Girls haven't had that reaction,
Yeah,
which I think is really unfair for this round for their performance of Mask. Because
yeah.
given what that they were out with COVID and they came in and put that together with in half the time, I thought they did a great job.
I thought they
Um,
executed a better performance than half the groups performing, and they were sick. So it's like
yeah,
like
yeah, they're like
it's
literally coughing like before
yeah.
going on stage. Yeah, so I I, I can't think of really justified reasons like why it wouldn't have landed as well. I think perhaps it did rely on a lot of the version that we saw relied on a lot of like different cuts between different members doing different things in different places, and maybe that could look disjointed if you're watching it live and you're not seeing the editing. You're just watching a member on one part of the stage do something to a camera, but it's to the camera, it's not to you, so you don't necessarily have that same impact. Maybe that's a factor.
I feel like even
Um,
live though, the amount of members they have makes that kind of style work because they
yeah,
it's only it's not like a large group where it's like, oh, okay, god damn it, this person's panning over here. It's like it's
yeah.
well done in my opinion, like
I thought it was well done as well. I'm just trying to think
no, yeah,
of
trying to logically think of why.
yeah, and it's a real shame, and I really hope that they don't get discouraged from it, because I think they came off feeling like they did well,
Yeah.
and then being surprised that they were last, and by like a decent chunk of points as well. They had just under 3,000, I think. Next,
And
like
they should
4,000.
have been surprised they were last and should have felt well that they performed well because yeah, they were sick with COVID and they executed a really good performance
Yeah,
being ill, which in my if you showed that performance, like say I just went downstairs or something and was like, here to someone, watch this performance, they would not think that they had COVID, like
yeah, for sure.
performing that so like in my opinion, if you can do something where you were sick and execute it that well, that's a very hard ability to have. Like most people would be showing that they're not in full health when they're performing.
Yeah, it's just like uh, I mean, obviously now that they are genuinely in danger of elimination, because they would have been sixth if in round one if it wasn't for Luna's absent being absent.
Yeah.
Um, and I really hope that they don't lose faith in themselves and find the means to do their absolute best for the next round, and hopefully people will recognize that. I've even seen some fandoms being like, guys, Brave Girls don't deserve this. I'm going to start giving them my like second vote just because they deserve to not be last.
Well, because you can tell, like, if you watch that performance, there's no way you can think that's last. You know what I mean? Like, if you watch, because I watched all the performances today again. There's no way that's last. It's just not. I understand personal opinions, but if you watch all those performances, you can't think that's last, in my opinion. Like, it's just it's just not.
I get that the criticism that they're like not as strong dancers or whatever, that they relied on like using a large group of backup dancers for like the dance break section, and it doesn't quite hit the same or whatever. But it's like, I think they really played to their strengths. There, they played to like the individual members, and then they played to the vocals, and they put on a good show. And just it's very harsh. But obviously someone had to be last, but I definitely don't think it should have been them.
Maybe because, like, I don't know, maybe someone needs to sing sick to really understand how well they did.
Yeah.
You know, like, because if you've ever sang when you're not feeling well, especially when you're coughing and have a sore throat, the fact that they even executed at all like they did, you know, she literally was coughing most of them, like, before they went up and performed. So it's like, and then it's just ridiculous in my opinion that how much we knew it would happen, that the online voting would be so that the online presence of a group would be so important in this show, because I feel like the biggest thing is you're not gonna beat how popular like Luna is online if you're Brave Girls. Like, that's just not happening regardless of how well.
But I think what they really needed to do was catch the domestic trend, which obviously is what propelled them to this position in the first place. And I think the issue is that the other performances have trended a lot, in particular Luna's and Hyolin's for this round in Korea. So they've kind of been fallen by the wayside. But even in Korea, I've seen like people saying like, "Wow, they did not deserve to be last." Like, that's really unfair for them.
This is not Kepler hate, okay? So I'm just saying, I don't think them getting Kepler in the cover round did them any favors. You know, like, as far as having an opportunity to have like a trendy performance. I feel like because the options of song choice that they had there, it was like, okay, they're gonna have to do like Mask, you know, like which is a good song. I like that song.
It's a great song, yeah.
I do feel like they had an opportunity to do something maybe that would have been more trendy online if they had been like, if they got to choose maybe someone like Luna or, you know, Hyolyn. If they had, because the options they had to pick from there.
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, they're forced into covering a B-side from a a recently debuted group that just doesn't have that power, that name recognition, really. Even though people in Korea will know Kepler, but they will know Warada unless they're fans, and that's kind of it.
And Mask, in both our opinions, is the best song, I think, from Kepler. Sure. For like it is their most enjoyable song to listen to. But it's also one that's really hard to make really different too. It's a hard song to structure it, like, really to change it a lot.
Yeah, and they changed like the instrumentation, and they made it into like a more Brave Girls style sound, but it was pretty true to the original in sound, right? So, and that's kind of how I think that's kind of how AOA did Egotistic, right?
Exactly, and that was still an amazing performance.
Yeah, they went from like the Latin vibe to the like big band style, and they didn't change much about the arrangement after that. They just kind of did the song, and it was great.
I think people kind of remember Jimin's rap change of Egotistic is kind of one of the big things that's memorable of that.
Yeah, the introductory rap is certainly that, and the dance break, but I think We can't say much more on it because we just kind of like, yeah, I think they were really hard done by to be last. I thought they were very, very solid. It was what I would. It wasn't the best performance of the night, but it certainly wasn't the worst. And it's like the definition of a solid performance. And so you say it's better than half, which is that's why I put it third
Ooh.
in my rankings, and I think
That's
yeah.
in my official ranking I made. I did put them third. I thought as I watched the performances again, I was starting to, just because I think WJSN performed the vocals really well live and everything, but now the structure of the song, like we said earlier, just wasn't interesting. So I do have Luna second, Brave Girls third, WJSN fourth in my like official ranking of it. So I also have them third because it was deserving of just kind of that, where you're like, okay, well done. Like,
Yeah,
like you were sick and you pulled that off.
you,
And that
you
was,
nailed it.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, half the time to prepare, and I thought they came out. It was clean, it was well executed. And perhaps maybe then it's still like, oh, that there could be there, maybe there is another level that they could go to ahead of this, but yeah, I thought they were really solid.
Yep. And for anyone who like disagrees about if you thought Brave Girls was last, I'm gonna just say that's a terrible opinion. So just,
It's a terrible opinion, but feel free to leave it in the comments regardless.
moving on, we have Viviz, right? Was next.
Yeah.
And so I guess this is where I kind of get into the zone of where, even though I watched it again today, the things that are memorable about it to me are not good. And the things that are forgettable is just kind of the performance in general for me. I thought as it started, I thought I'm gonna really like this. Here's some like flamenco guitar kicking in. It's kind of spicy intro happening, and I'm like, okay, Vivis, here we go. Like I've been looking forward to, because you're so talented. They are to me. G Friend was such a talented group, and those members of Vivis are extremely talented, and they still in the whole show, just for me, haven't done like a moment where I feel that way. Like, oh, okay, this is why. Like, I don't know. There's just nothing they've done yet in the show that really I grasp to as memorable or really enjoyable. And this
Yeah.
performance was kind of another moment like that, where like I don't feel like they quite deserved the ranking they got. It was based purely off of like online popularity, I feel like, that they have from like buddies that are voting.
Yeah. I have to admit when I watched it again, um, so my first viewing was ruined because my I have to watch I had to watch through a VPN because hilariously the Mnet YouTube stream is not available in South Korea. um, so I had to watch through a VPN, and then it was like lagging to hell, so I missed like the first half of that performance. So I had to like watch it again. Um, and after rewatching it, I did actually like it. I think I like the arrangement of the song. I like the way that they changed the vibe of the song. I thought it sounded nice, but I think that is because I do really like Unnatural, so I'm always down to listen to it in any form.
That like out of all the songs chosen in the round, like probably one of the better songs, like
Yeah,
especially because WJSN just has a lot of really great music to choose from. And but I think this is the opposite of how I feel about a lot of the other performances, where structure was not bad, like the
yeah,
changing of the song structure wise. I just think vocally the execution was not great, and I don't really remember the dancing doing much for me or anything like in the performance. So like actual performance
yeah.
aspect of it was not memorable for me.
Yeah. Again, it was a lot of solo stuff. There's a lot of cutting from one member to the other and less of the members together. Um, and there was a lot of cool stuff they were doing with like camera angles and shots and stuff, which I thought was neat. But again, that's not necessarily what the performance is about. Um, and it happened. We had it three times in this round, but like, can we leave the the outfit changes in songs behind now.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's been such a thing. Like, it's kind of neat when it's done well. I thought probably Luna executed it best. But just like, oh wow, they ripped the skirt off and they're wearing hot pants. Now it's sexy. Like, okay, cool. But it just that they had a concept and they like went in and out with it and didn't really fully grasp it and like fully commit to it to like a really strong and solid execution.
To not only say bad things about the performance, because there was good aspects. I would say their intro was the most interesting to me. Like, I thought they had the best intro in their performance. And then there was kind of like how it ended looked visually really cool as well.
Yeah.
But it's just everything in between kind of was a little meh for me.
I think perhaps they over focused on the visual spectacle side of things and making it look cool at a cost of other elements. And I think they were always going to have a hard time because they don't have the vocal power that WJSN has. They don't have Yeonjung and they don't have Subin.
Yeah,
and like
it seemed out of Yuna's register at points to be singing some of the notes.
It's like Honan just doesn't have. Honan is a good singer, and it's certainly not like to discredit her as a vocalist, but she doesn't have the power in her voice to hit those kind of belts and have it give that oomph in the same way that Yeonjung does. And you saw it in contrast to WJSN stage where she's going nuts, and it's like it becomes a highlight, whereas Honan is hitting the note. She's not missing the note really, but she's kind of straining and kind of just like doesn't have that like the power in your everyone always just sing from your stomach, right? And she doesn't have that. It's just kind of coming up in a breathy way and it doesn't quite have
it doesn't
that.
feel like there's all this power coming from the diaphragm of just like belting that note out. When we watched WJSN do Novelera, there's not that moment I feel like when we saw Viviz do a G-Friend song where I'm like, where's Yuju? When the high note comes in, because there's members in WJSN who can just nail that.
You can hit that, yeah.
When I watch Viviz and there's those moments that have to happen, I hate that it happens in my brain, but I'm like, Yuju. like,
your brain is like auto-filling what you want it to sound like.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought I did think as good as great a song as Unnatural is, I think it was quite unnatural for them to be doing it. I feel like if they had chosen a song that's more kind of maybe they want to do something a bit different and they don't want to just play into like their old style of doing the like bright and like ethereal concepts, they could have chosen an older song and done something that fits them a bit better.
I think Unnatural would have worked a lot better for them if they dropped the key of the song or something, because it felt uncomfortable vocally for them a lot of times. Yes. And then I would say one thing I think they could have done was, because there's a small amount of members in their group, was do a subunit song, like one of the like the easy like WJS and the Black, or like they had an opportunity, I feel like, to do one of the subunit things, which would have worked a lot better for them. I
think so too, and I'm surprised it wasn't something that they floated, or did they at one point suggest doing Chokame, and then they
I don't remember if they did or not, but they really should have,
I think it would. You could do, and especially with I know as much as you love Easy, but I think Chokame you could do a really really fun stage. You could do some really really fun stages and have some really creative ideas, and especially if you did Super Yoppers, you could do like a whole superhero concept thing and make a big do like grand entrances.
And
really
we know they could have pulled that vibe off. We've seen it from them.
If anything, it would fit them better. I think so. It's maybe Simbi and Umji less so, but Unha definitely I think would have thrived. Maybe they could have. Maybe that would have been a good mix
This was when they had the opportunity, because we always talked about like how WJSN could switch the two subunit styles with each other in a performance. This would have been like the perfect opportunity. This is when songs switch.
Yeah,
switching would have worked in my opinion. They could have started like Chokome and gone into Easy or something.
That would have been a good outfit change. Oh.
Yeah, there's. I feel like there was a lot of missed potential with the WJSN catalog there for that they didn't really comb through and pick from, to do a performance out of. I feel like it's a competition show. They should have looked at, okay, we have 3 members. This is a very large group. Let's pick something from their subunit where they have smaller amount of members. Like this, to me, it was very logical if they had done that.
Even just a song that fits our vibe more. I mean, I would love to have seen them do like, could have done Happy or something, like one of the earlier WJSN songs or something. They approached the rap in an interesting way, and I think we said before, like, if they are gonna have difficulty covering a rap part.
XC's a really good rapper too, so that's just one of those things.
Yeah. So, and it's like, it's hard to leave it out. Like, you couldn't just take it out in the same way that you can add a rap in. It's much more abrupt if you take it out. But so they ended up splitting it between Jinbi and Umji, and I think they both did okay. But it's very clear that neither of them is particularly comfortable rapping, and it didn't have that stage presence and like charisma that XE has when she's rapping, especially because XE's rap's usually always really sexy and provocative. That just, it didn't have that.
That's a difference of vibe too, because I feel like XE just gives that vibe as completely off as well. Like, I would say, people underestimate for sure rap, like, and how difficult it is for someone to give you the feeling that they have that, like, I guess swag would be like the right word or something, but I hate using that word.
That's the technical term used by theory.
That word sends like down my spine. It hurts when I say it, but but I guess that's the right word to say in this particular sentence for that. Charisma's better. Thank you. Much better way to phrase that. XE has charisma when she raps. That is very obvious, and I feel like Sinbi, like, I agree, did not do a bad job. I think Sinbi did better than Umji in the rapping, because she has the vibe for it, but it was still not. It's like when someone doesn't 100% commit, like
it felt more like a bit like talking. It was like more like a talk rap, kind of not to disrespect out of nowhere to shade Red Velvet, but kind of like how Red Velvet's rapping.
Oh yeah, you like when you get that Irene talk rap thing.
Yeah,
I'm original like visual. I love it though. I love Irene's talk rap.
Yeah, I think Red Velvet it works because it's camp, but here it was like. Yeah, it just felt a bit lackluster, and I think that's kind of how I described the performance as a whole. It was just a bit lackluster. There was some really good stuff there, and I think they certainly improved. For sure. And I think if they keep going up and we see something even better, then great.
I really want them before the show's over, because I do really like all the members of Vivis, because I really like G-Friend.
Yeah.
And I really want to see them do something before the show's over that everyone goes, okay, that's when they showed like how good they are, like, because it'd be really kind of disappointing if that doesn't happen before the end of the show.
Yeah, they've kind of had like almost like the Lovelies arc so far.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I guess actually maybe more accurately, they've had the Park Bomb arc, because we're left missing the rest of the group. But maybe it's a bit of both, and it's like I hope that they will, like how Lovelies did with Cameo. They had their big moment, and everyone was like, "Oh, actually, this was great." They nailed this.
But I think Lovelies, people didn't have the initial like expectation of them, whereas with Vivis the whole time I have this like higher kind of level of expectation because of how seasoned they are.
I guess so.
Like I where I feel like, okay, I really, really want to see something like here, At least I personally didn't, because I didn't really have an understanding of Lovelies and who they were when I saw Queendom.
Right.
Whereas I
Yeah.
know the members of Viviz, like, and I have an expectation of them from knowing G-Friend.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
fair
big
enough.
difference, I feel like.
Yeah. I think Different certainly hit like a higher point in their career than Lovelyz did. Um, so
Yeah.
that's a fair assessment. But yeah.
I guess we're on. So I think it's kind of obvious what my last place pick is. I sorry, I should have said I put Viviz in 5th on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because no matter how many times I rewatch Kepler's performance, I just even if the thing didn't happen at the end, because I really don't, that doesn't affect my grading of it. Her falling at the end and getting back on, because I
Yeah.
feel like she handled that really professionally.
Yeah.
I feel like she fell off, she got back on, went to the end thing. It wasn't like extremely noticeable until it's like pointed out to you, you know. So I feel like she felt really bad about that, and like she ruined the performance or something. But honestly, up to that point, it was already in last place for me before it got there. And I'm gonna say why, because I feel like I've been very fair to Kepler up to this review episode that we have now. I feel like I've even
Yeah.
graded them pretty high in other performances, and I felt like
I've
overall,
been harsher than you.
yes, exactly. So I feel like up till now, I only had kind of a good feeling about them because I feel like they overperformed my expectations.
Right.
This has nothing to do with expectations I had or anything. I just did not enjoy it at all. And I don't mean I tried, believe me, I tried to find like a redeeming quality that I like about this performance. Everything in this performance is like hitting things that I don't enjoy. Very cute, very bubbly, very happy, not usually something I enjoy performance-wise at all. And I feel like sorry, not Sistar. It's a Brave Girls song, and Brave Girls has a mature kind of, no matter what, Brave Girls kind of has this mature, sultry vibe to them, in my opinion, even when it's
Yeah.
happy and cheerful. And okay, Kepler decided we're gonna make it very cute and bubbly, and I was fine with it at first. I'm like, pool party, yay, this is cute. We're having this thing happen, and then Rolling just had to fucking find its way in here, didn't it? I was like, I just knew, because I heard them talking about it before, and I was like, please no, please no, please don't throw Rolling in. Just please don't do the thing where you're like, and then Rolling happens, and of course they did. Of course they did,
Yeah.
and to me that was almost insulting, kind of. Like, it felt almost insulting to Brave Girls to be like, and then we threw Roland in.
Yeah.
Like the...
It's like saying, it's like saying Pool Party is not a good enough song or not a memorable enough song that we could do, so we had to put Roland in it because that's what everyone knows you for. It's just like it feels a bit demeaning. But it didn't sound good. and unlike you, I'm much more okay with cuter stuff. I was really enjoying the intro. I thought the intro with the Alice in Wonderland thing was really cool. I don't know. Maybe they kind of. I'll say more about this afterwards. But I was enjoying the sound of the song. Really, I was kind of like, oh, this is cute. I'm enjoying it. And then like Bahia has like the hey, let me play Roland right now. And I was like, please don't.
I
Please don't.
rewatched it today. At that exact moment, my brain shuts down. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like
it sounded bad. Like the sound of the voices singing that part. Maybe because I'm so accustomed to the sound of Brave Girls themselves doing it, but it sounded it was like grating. It's like I didn't want to hear that. Not least because I didn't want to hear the song at all, but I didn't want to hear them singing it like that.
And I already didn't enjoy how Brave Girls switched to Rolling in the show, in the series originally. That was already something that bothered me before, because I loved Chima Param, like when they did that performance, and I wanted the whole thing to be that because I love that song. That's my favorite song of theirs, in my opinion. And then they did the thing, they came out the little, you know, blanket, and then here we are, we're doing Roland or whatever, you know, low budget switch to Roland. And I felt like this was, I just can't call what happened a low budget switch in this case, but it was just as unimpactful to me, where I was just
it actively took me out of the song,
mm-hmm.
like, and the performance, and like I remember the people I was watching it with when it happened. Everyone's reaction was kind of like, "Huh." I don't know how I feel about that. Like
Yeah.
I don't think there was anyone who was like, "Oh, yay, it's rolling again." It was just,
If they didn't song switch it to rolling, I wouldn't nearly feel as bad about the performance because then it's just a
yeah,
style that I don't enjoy.
yeah,
Then it's not really like okay, I don't have too much harsh critique on the performance. Then really, it's just the style isn't for me of the
yeah,
song. But then, just the way they did that threw me off so much that I was just like,
yeah.
and I do feel like I don't feel like any drama should happen between the groups. I just feel like
No, no, no.
it was not a good thing to do covering Brave Girls to just throw Roland in. Like
Yeah. Like if you're gonna cover rolling, just cover rolling.
exactly. Yeah.
You know,
And
like
do
you
the
could.
chair choreography. Bring the full Monty out,
Bring the chairs up.
like which I did not want to see that with Kepler
It,
because I don't want
I
to see
mean,
sexy chair choreography from the Kepler
yeah. So
members. But
maybe it could have been like a funny thing if they had done like a really cutesy version of rolling. Like that could have been like a funny
yeah,
thing to look at, and that could have gone terribly, but maybe that could have gone well as well. But honestly, like if it had just been Pool Party, I would have been fine with it because I really like Pool Party as it is. Obviously, the vibe was different, the instrumental was different because Pool Party it's like almost New Jack Swing kind of like old school style, like 80s style, and this was not that, but I didn't mind it, I didn't hate it, but the performance felt like a case of trying to do too much, like too many things, too many elements happening, which meant that the concept was kind of slipped away from them. They started out with this Alice in Wonderland concept, which is I think is maybe a bit trite, but is can be done quite well, right? Um, and they kind of kept referring back to it, but it didn't really have much bearing at all on the performance. It's like, what's the relevance of this? Like, why do we start Yeso out as Alice, and then why do we immediately change her outfit and like then just vibe? Why do we vibe? Why then do we have like the section with the railings and that dance break, which I thought was actually really well executed. Like
it
that
was
particular,
yes.
that was easily the best dancing I've
The
seen Kepler
flip
do.
over the railing thing was the most memorable thing to me of their entire
Yeah,
performance. Like,
and
and it was really well done.
but in general, as everyone there was really clean. Everyone was in time. Like it was easily the best dancing I've seen Kepler do. And but it's like but it's like why is this here?
Mm.
If not, it just seems like oh, we haven't danced enough in this performance, so
The
we need to go.
ballerina switch thing
Yeah,
was a little strange. Yes.
so it was a lot of abrupt. It was kind of like a patchwork of rather than a pastiche.
Yeah. Even though I don't like the style of the cute version of like Pool Party, really, I would have had a much higher. Mama, come on. I would have had a much higher opinion of it if they had stuck to a theme and just executed that theme the entire time for Pool Party. Like,
Yeah,
I would have
sure.
had a much better opinion of it because then it's just stylistically I don't vibe with it. But your performance was good. Hold on, sorry for everyone watching. I'm gonna let the doggo out. Anyways, to continue on that thought, yes, like we were saying, the theme of it should have been consistent, and it was all the switch up happening, kind of rolling, coming in and out. I think that made it less enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. I think as your dogs killed each other outside.
Yes, for anyone, sorry, there is a puppy attacking my dog right now.
Yes. Yeah, I I think yeah, it was them. It was them. They were. It kind of felt like trying too hard. That's kind of what it felt like. It's like they were like, oh, we have to include rolling because otherwise it's not a very good song. We have to include this like elaborate dance break thing because otherwise we haven't danced enough. We have to include this and we have to include this and we have to include it. It's like pick a few strengths and focus on them rather than trying to do everything at once. Um, the other things I liked, I thought that Hikaru and Dion's rap section was cool. I thought that was implemented well, and they talked about how the rap is such a prominent part of Pool Party, Ichan's guest appearance, and it's like one of the rare occasions where a boy features on a girl group song and it doesn't take you out. It actually flows really nicely with like Ichan did a really good job of capturing the vibe of the song. Um, and I thought it kept that. It didn't feel out of place. It fit nicely. Um, I think Hikaru has definitely been among the standouts for Kepler
I
for
agree. I
me.
think I have the highest opinion of Hikaru out of all the Kepler members after this, especially like
Yeah,
how much she showed she kind of gets involved in the creating their performance side of
yeah,
things. She definitely seems to
yeah,
take control of a lot of like the creative side of their thinking behind stuff.
yeah. Like I was impressed with her on Girls Planet as it was,
Yeah.
and she's even more impressive on the show. And she's really showing how and she's still so young, right? She's got a long way to go. Like she's gonna get better and better.
She has the best stage presence, I would say, out of all of them. Too, where you
Yeah,
kind of you really notice her during their performances.
definitely up there.
I think it was a Da Yoon who fell. Is that
Daeyeon.
Daeyeon? Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
thinking of how to say the twice members name. The other one that's Blueberry's favorite that has the same name pretty much. She fell at the end and she felt really bad about it. But I gotta say, if anything, I feel like I got a higher opinion of her as a professional out of that moment.
uh-huh.
I don't feel like that moment is something she should feel really bad about or anything. I feel like if anything, a lot more people saw like her professionalism in that. Like this
Yeah,
happened. I didn't just like crack in that moment. You know, I got right back up and went to the ending pose of the stage.
yeah, and like
It,
especially because it's right at the end. Like you'd be mortified, right?
yeah,
If anything, like not because like it could have hurt or whatever, but just because like you'd be so embarrassed,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
then like if you're imagine you're supposed to do an ending fairy after that, you're supposed to like throw up a cheek up
Yeah.
or something, and it's like when you just had that like it's and to be fair, Eminent did her credit by not focusing on it like in the performance clip, like it happens and it's not centered frame. It's just kind of you see her. You're
Yeah,
like, oh,
you guys all had to point it out to me
yeah,
when I watched it live, and I think I missed it even the second time until until I remembered which member you were talking about in Kepler. So I don't
yeah,
have them like perfectly memorized, but yeah,
yeah. Fortunately, it wasn't a bad fall, like for her as well. Of course, she didn't get badly hurt or anything.
yeah.
She like fell almost on two of the people in the pit in the audience, which for them must have been an experience,
Yeah,
an
that's true.
experience and a
Just
half.
have an idol just come flying
I
at you out of nowhere.
whenever it's like, oh, I want someone to step on me. It's like, well, you Dion fell on me, but
It was
yeah,
it was not. I don't feel like that moment happening ruined their performance.
no, no, definitely not.
Like, which she
Same
seemed
with
to
same with
feel that
Eugen.
way, but I don't think it did.
Yeah, yeah. Eugen was kind of equally upset about how when she did her bubble bit and then her boots got soapy, so she was slippery, which obviously I think is a perhaps a bit of an oversight of that whole routine in the first place, right? Because surely that would have happened in you'd have noticed that in
Yeah.
practice, right? Um, like how consistently were you stepping out of the bubble bit and not getting soap on your boot?
I didn't notice her like slip and sliding around or anything on the
no,
stage
no,
during the performance. It's much more in her head while she's performing. She's
yeah,
like, "This is terrible. This is like but no
yeah.
one's really noticing that
Yeah,
much."
like if you look if you watch only her, you can see at some sections she's a bit slippy, but it's not like it's not bad. And
Yeah.
again, yeah, these aren't the things that necessarily affect how a performance is graded for me. Like I'm much more concerned with someone who's just offbeat or off key or
Mm-hmm.
whatever than I am with someone who just has an unfortunate stage accident. It's
Definitely.
not the same. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I hated it as much as you did. I think there was more in it that I enjoyed, but overall, it still is in last place for me as well. I actually
What?
think now that I'm thinking about it, I'm pretty sure our rankings are actually identical
Mm,
for this one.
did you
So
put them last as well?
yeah,
It's interesting. I can't too harshly critique the vocal or dance aspect of their performance. Just the whole thing in general just did not do anything for me. Is what
yeah.
it was, which
I,
is
I did I did feel that the vocals were a bit more one note than they had done before because I thought we both mentioned that the vocals were pretty good in the
because it's
first
Brave
stage.
Girl song, yeah. So it's got good vocals, but it's like
Yeah, and they kind of did it. They did it their way, right? And like I said, with the Rollin' part, I actively disliked listening to it, and with Pool Party, it was kind of like it was fine, but there was similar to it to with Luna, like the mixing that wasn't giving enough of their voice to make me really enjoy it, and they're trying to like they're kind of like you want to get the crowd involved for a song like Pool Party, right? You want to make it like a party vibe, and they're like Pool Party.
Yeah.
It's just like you need to be really like pool party.
Yeah, it's a summer jam, you know.
Yeah.
Like the original Brave Girls version is something like I'm on the beach and I'm gonna crack a Corona or something, you know,
Yeah.
like not the beer.
The funniest thing about the Brave Girls original is that it's filmed in like it's the song called Pool Party, and nowhere in the music video features a pool.
Oh yeah, aren't they in like a bowling alley or something?
Yeah, they're in like a bowling alley,
Yeah,
like roller rink, like it's just generic indoor 80s activities,
but they still give you that vibe, you know.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
Yeah, I think the harshest critique I have of it and why it's last for me is the very unnecessary change to Roland in it. I feel like if they committed to a theme, I would have had a much better opinion of it, like to not switching you to that song like that. Committing to the theme is the wrong word because they did keep that summer pool theme the whole time. I guess I just do not like the song switch happening. Except they had a ballerina breakdown. Yes.
Why did we do that Alice in Wonderland bit if we are gonna do a pool bit? Like some of it, it's like
yeah,
those two things are not. I don't think of chilling by the pool when I think of Alice in Wonderland.
when we were watching them prepare for the performance live, like I was as they started talking about Roland totally fits in this song, and I was like, no, it does not. Don't do it. You know, like please stop it. Like the whole time I was watching, but I knew it was gonna happen. It felt inevitable.
The same BPM or something.
Yeah,
but it's just, yeah, I know.
It's like if someone decides they're gonna make like a cover of a Metallica song and they're like,
I knew you were about to say
of course
Metallica.
I am. Oh,
we have to put Enter
we haven't brought up IU or Metallica. Let me just say IU 3 times. IU. Okay, we haven't brought them up enough, and we're not meeting the quota.
Appear behind you.
Yes, please. But yeah, like imagine, you know, if you're just like, I'm covering a Metallica song, I need to throw Enter Sandman chorus in here at some point or something, you know, it's like, I don't want it. I don't need it.
In fact, my brain went to that before you even said it.
Yeah, because it's true, you know, it's
yeah. You shouldn't have to define a group by their hit, their biggest hit, even though it was such a hit. I mean, obviously, it's not like an intentional slight on Brave Girls or anything like that. But like between my dad listens to your songs and let's just do Rollin' again, right? I thought Pool Party was a great choice. Mm-hmm. It was such a good choice of a song for that. Like out of all of the Brave Girls songs you would to think of that they could have done, like. Yeah, they could maybe have done something like High Heels. They could have done maybe Fever. But I think Pool Party was a really, really good choice. And then it just like, why put Rollin' in it? Like, who cares if it's the same beat?
It's yeah. That's why it's last. Honestly, they might not have been last if it wasn't for that, for me in my opinion. But yeah. That is the reasoning. If Orbits, is that their fandom? If there's any, oh wait, god, I know that's Luna. My bad. They're Keplerians or something, right? Keplians. Yeah. Yes. If there's any Keplians watching, that's our reasoning. Okay, unnecessary switch to rolling, unnecessary vibe switches and dancing and stuff. I guess too.
Just a bit too much.
Yeah.
Too much all at once. Yeah.
Well,
and then there's Hyolan.
and with Hyolan the whole time, it's just like now my expectation is just like it's just gonna slap. You know, it's gonna be great every time. I feel like she did song switch as well, but she did it right in my opinion. Like I feel like the way she did it was, sorry for everyone who hears the pop filter sound happening today. For some reason my mic's pop filter isn't working today. Um, that yeah, she did it right. Like the way Paint the Town came in, and because she just, I don't know, she had the Catwoman outfit going on that hit. It slapped when it hit. I was like, hell yeah, Paint the Town. Like it was
Yeah.
just done well.
I mean, Paint the Town is a song which has a lot of impact, right? So it's a good thing to you can bring it in. I don't think the performance would have suffered if it wasn't in it. I think you could easily have, but I think the crucial thing, and I was worried when Paint the Town first came in. I was like, oh, please don't change this to only Paint the Town for the rest of this performance, because the best bit of so what is the bridge. Like that bridge is so good. Like every time I'm listening, I want that bridge, and she did and came back to So What and did the bridge, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah, she did Paint the Town without taking me out of the song and vibe switching it too much. It worked. But I do agree, if she didn't do it, it would have been just maybe better actually. But it would have but it would have been just as good without that happening in the song.
Yeah, but yeah, Honan just she is on another level in terms of how she sees what she wants to do and then how she executes it.
Well, you saw
like
right from the intro starting, you saw I forget who it was, but she's like Uni, like watching she's like, she just knew it was over. Like, I think Exy just like did this.
She was just like, well, it's gone, it's done. Yeah. Like, and that was such a cool part. Like she's like, oh well, I want to be like the moon, and it's like, well, I want to do a moon bit, but I'm gonna fucking descend from the ceiling in a ring that I'm somehow balanced in, wearing these like 6-inch stilettos. Like, you could so easily have just had a gymnast in there, right? Like she did not have to do that. Like she could have entered in a different way. The fact she chose to do that is just like, and then executes it is just like, why she's so good.
To me, she paid great respect to Luna with her performance too.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she was very respectful of them and was like, okay, and then she's like, okay, yeah, they're Luna, so I want that kind of theme around like the moon and everything too. So it's like, that's cool. You're going in for the vibe and theme of the group itself, when you're thinking about your performance. That's what I wanted Kepler to do with Brave Girls, and that's my harshest critique. Like, to have the respect and appreciation or something there when making the performance of it.
Yeah, I think overall that was the most like respect and then like due diligence to the originals was done between Luna and Honan, going both ways.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously she just bodies the song. Like we were talking about how is she gonna do it with all these parts, and I said before I watched it with my friends, I was like, she must have recorded all the parts and just layered herself over it, and then we actually saw her do exactly that, so that was validating. And I thought that was done well. Obviously then she has the quite difficult choice to make of what part do I sing live, like which part do I leave in the mix and which parts do I sing live. And I think generally speaking she chose really good parts. The one thing I really wanted to hear live, and obviously it's literally impossible for her to do all of the parts that I would want to hear in a So What.
Yeah, there's 12 parts.
But so like in the chorus, like like that little run, I love that. And she couldn't do that live. She just kept that underneath, and I was like, nah. But
because of how layered it is with so many members, she had to switch it up.
But it's so she can then go like, oh, this so what, like, and if the way she approached the vibe was like a concert performance, like a festival performance, and it was her like interacting with the crowd and like hyping the crowd a lot. And she basically did like, I think I try to remember, she even did like 2 full circles of the stage, just kind of basically just strutting around and then coming back to the middle for the chorus and for the Paint the Town bit and for the bridge section.
Yeah, she did it so cool that it felt like something like you're saying, if you went to her concert, like she would do it, as an impactful moment or something. Like it, but not. just you knew it was done like the moment she strolled in, just like the whole like
Remember she
presence
descended.
of like, yeah, like she descended down in a Catwoman outfit and it started, and I was like, okay, it's just like game over right now. Like,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I remember at the end of the first episode of this round, like when they teased it at the end, it was just like they just showed Helen hanging there, and everyone was just like, "Oh God, like what is she
mhm.
like? What is she gonna do?" Like, and so that was all I was looking forward
she
to.
she was last performing, and it felt like the headliner.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
felt like
yeah,
the
for sure.
headliners here to perform when it happened. Like.
Yeah. I think one criticism I've seen of it, and I do understand this one, is that it perhaps felt like that a little bit too much, and that she could have spent more time doing actual choreography, like actually dancing hard. Um, I get why she chose not to do that because, she, like we said before, if you're doing a full group song like that, like you need all the breath you can get,
Yeah,
and you don't want to be out of breath from dancing too
she's
hard. And I
performing a
think she
12-member
did
song.
dance
There had
well.
to be adaptation
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. But I do get like the just like, oh, she is just kind of walking around and carrying it on the back of her exceptional stage presence, which she has in spades. So like she's able to do that. So I do understand that criticism, but I don't think it like lowers the performance that much in my eyes. If she had included like an extra dance an extra dance section or something in it, that would have just been like the cherry on the icing on the
The
cake.
the thing about Hyolyn is I didn't feel like going into Queendom that I could have a higher appreciation of her or whatever, especially since we had
Mm-hmm.
watched her already body people in why is the name of the show blanking
Good
on me?
girl.
Good Girl. Yes, we'd already seen her body people on Good Girl, like competition wise. Where it's just like, okay, you win, like.
Yeah,
So I already had that expectation of like, okay, she knows how to do this, like she's an expert. But now when you see like something like this performance where like you're saying, she can walk and just sing with her live voice and do a lot more to you in that live performance just doing that than someone doing like a bunch of fancy choreography,
yeah,
because
yeah,
she has the seasoned presence of being on stage and having that vibe like on stage where it's just like, okay, you're a
it
master like while you're
yeah.
performing.
She made it her own. It no longer felt like this is Mnet stage and different artists are performing on it. It was like this is Yolen stage,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and it's like even though my expectations of her are so high and my awareness of her ability is very clear, but she still surprises me with what she does with especially with her singing. Like when she hits it like so bad,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
like
yeah.
I can't do it, but like I'm just like damn, she just hits that like
Well, that's the
each
thing.
time.
She can dance like so good,
Yeah,
and then you're just like, something has to be off to counterbalance that, right? And then she just
yeah.
sings amazing live too. So it's like, where am I supposed to find like the imperfection in you while you're
Yeah, I think what's wrong
performing?
with her?
Yeah. It's like, are you going like? Does she have like the Jennifer Aniston thing though, where like men are running away every week or something? Like I don't know.
Yeah,
You
like
can't find anything about Hyolyn in her performances and stuff where it's just not to critique her really that much because
yeah,
it's just too well done. And I will say, I think the reason she's doing so well in this show is because I think she's just been smarter than everyone
yeah,
else in the show about what she chooses to do. Like
yeah,
she's been a lot smarter than the rest of the groups in crafting her stage
yeah,
performance.
definitely. And that's where her experience is really coming through. Experience as well, in that she's only having to think about herself. She's not having to worry about like, oh, but who can do this? Like, what part can we get for this member? Like, how are we going to fit everyone's vibe into the song? She doesn't have to worry about any of that. It's just, what do I want to do? How am I going to do it? And then I decide. I've decided. Okay, we're doing this, and then it's done.
Yeah.
And then of course she's so good that she can nail whatever it is she's decided. She hasn't missed. Maybe she will. Maybe she'll decide to do something at some point that won't hit in the same way. I think the next round will be a really interesting one for her because I feel like she has a lot of options that she's from to do like a fan's choice song. I have to presume that she's going to do a solo song now, because she did a sister song as her intro. I think she's not going to. She wants to be there as Hyolyn, right? She doesn't want to be there as sister. So maybe she'll choose one of her solos, and maybe the interpretations of that could be have more room to miss.
God,
In a way,
she just like laying low at the end. Oh my god.
well, because we haven't actually seen a Hyolyn song yet. In a way, if you think, same way we haven't seen a Vivis song. We've seen them do one of their old group songs, and we've seen them do a cover. We haven't seen their song.
Last round definitely has to have a Vivis, has to have a Hyolyn song. Otherwise, it's weird. You went the whole show without actually doing your own material.
Yeah. So we'll we'll see how that goes. But I mean, I can't anticipate anything other than just another top quality performance, and she may well be in a position to sweep the show. I hope that the competition is just going to get tougher. I hope that everyone brings their A game for the next round and then the final. But the final, I think, is actually the area where she's probably has the chance to miss most.
Probably.
Where the chance that where that's where the fandom size will really come into play.
But I am glad Luna in the cover round made me a lot more excited and about like what they're gonna do next and stuff because I feel like they kind of from the start they had the unfortunate they were sick and then the Paint the Town performance was just kind of like thrown together into the episode and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like, okay, yeah, like what are you gonna do, for the final round and stuff. I am excited to see what they all do in the final round. I hope the best scenario would be that they all brought it so good that you're kind of then just going off of like personal feeling of the song or something. Like hopefully in the final round they all just have like awesome performances or something.
Everyone nails it, and it's just which one you like most.
That would be the best outcome in my opinion, that they all have amazing final round performances and then it's just song kind of choice or something. But
yeah,
we'll see if that happens, I guess. I'm hopeful, but I'm not sure that will be what happens,
Yeah, that's we'll have to wait and see, and of course we'll have to have the units next. So I guess we can finish by kind of speculating on units. Are there any particular people you'd want to see together, and is there anyone you don't want to see?
Yeah, I want to see Chu and Taeyeon. Okay, why have I not gotten this interaction? We're like, I'm 4 episodes, I feel like, technically in, and I've not had a single Chu Taeyeon interaction. This was like the thing that got me initially sold into the show, and I needed to happen.
Give it time.
Particularly in the units, I really hope what you were talking about earlier doesn't happen. I don't want them to switch the vocalist doing dancing and dancing doing vocals. I think that would suck. Because it would be defeat the whole purpose of the show. But I would like to see like vocal units. I feel like I want to see like Chu, like and Olivia Hye and those members thrown in with like Sin B and stuff like that. I feel like the interaction between I feel like that would make a really interesting unit actually. Like just because like I feel like Olivia Hye and Sin B have these very kind of like personalities that come out strong. And then if you had like Chu and Yuna with them together in a unit or something, you'd have this really weird mix of like really cute, really strong personality type.
I don't think Chu and Olivia would go to the same unit.
Because Olivia's more dancing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Olivia would be performance and Chu would be vocals.
And Sin B's also dancing. So it's I'm really what I'm talking about. There's 2 things that won't mix together.
Yeah, so you're saying you wanted to see like a Vivis X Luna collab, then you'd want to see like Sin B and Olivia. But then who else would you have? Like, would you include Umji in a performance unit for Vivis X Luna? Or
Umji?
Because otherwise it would be... Yeah, because like it wouldn't be Unha. Oh, that's the other thing we didn't mention about Vivis. Like Unha was practicing that kick over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and then it not happening the way she wanted it to.
Yeah. And it wasn't that impactful either. So even if it did hit, it would have been like whatever.
When it was done perfectly in practice, I didn't understand why it was supposed to be like this big mainstay thing in the performance. Yeah. Um, yeah. Performance-wise, Olivia Hye and Sinbi I want to see together because I feel like they
Just
match
them.
really well. I feel like no. So I think if I'm picking from each group, I want to see Exy, Olivia Hye, Sinbi, and who's the one they call like Squirtle from
Oh,
Brave Girls?
Yujong.
Yeah. I feel like them together and Hikaru from Kepler. I feel like that would make a really like cool performance. Just kind of all the really strong personalities. I feel like from each one of those
Yeah.
groups, and Hyolyn obviously is going to be thrown in there because she has to.
Yeah, she will be there. Yeah, I think one that I really want to see is Hyolyn and Minyoung
Mm.
because I really want people to appreciate Minyoung as a vocalist more. And I feel like them doing a vocal performance together would be really cool. But equally, they could do like a cool dance performance as well, which would be really neat. I would love to see the Luna's vocal line with WJSN's vocal line as well.
I think Yorum, because she does the Chokome in WJ said, like if you had like her, Chu, and Yuna do a trot song or something together, like the three of them it would be pretty funny to see like the three of them.
I think Yorum would hate the existence, and Dayoung would be there,
Which,
like, let me do it. I beg you, let me do it. There's a lot of actual real potential for lots of cool units, and it's kind of always when this kind of thing happens, I'm always left wishing that every member had a chance to do that, because like on the first season it was like for example, I'm a Girl sent Hyojung to the vocal unit thing, and she did that great performance with Park Bom, which was really cool, but it was also like Sunyi's a great vocalist, and it would have been cool to see her do something with another member from one of the groups, right?
For sure.
Like Idol sent Minnie, and we know about Minnie and her tone and how good a singer she is. But Mion is also a really good singer. It would have been cool to see her do something. It's like obviously it doesn't work just because of the number of members of each group and so on. But it would be cool if there was like a B squad.
Yeah.
Like
it would be interesting.
Yeah.
I who is like the vocalist for Kepler? Like who is like the main?
Chaehyun.
Oh, okay, I know who that is. Okay,
yeah.
And then it would be
and then Youngun as well.
Youngun, would be like more the performance dancing though, right? Like she was really good at the dancing. I remember in Girls Planet.
She's pretty much an all rounder, but I think Youngun is like the next vocalist after Chaehyun, I think.
The vocal round will give you an opportunity to see what the disparity of talent is, I think, between vocalists of the groups and stuff.
For sure. The other thing is that obviously they have free reign of song. They can do whatever, and that can be a blessing and a curse, right? Because if you choose a great song and one that really hits,
like My Sea by IU from the Girls Planet Round.
I would be given that it's Queendom and whatnot. I would be shocked if we don't get an IU song as one of them.
I'm always interested when someone picks that because it's like, you sure you want to do that? Like, it's like, you really sure you're gonna
but I mean, even in Kingdom we had an IU song. Yeah. So it's like, but so I don't know. Well, obviously it remains to be seen. It can be the really good or really like forgettable. But I feel like in Queendom they really hit the spot. Even though the choices were really unique and distinct from each other, because it's the other thing is like Kwasa and Kay doing Billie Eilish, like you don't expect to just see a Billie Eilish stage on a show like this.
That is the Kwasa Hey arc is like one of the best things that ever.
Did you say Kwasa Hey?
Kwasa K arc. I'm sorry, that's a bad roll of the tongue. It's early in the morning. Give me
that's Olivia Hayes' cousin, Kwasa.
Yeah. But I would love to see something similar between maybe like Hyolyn and a younger idol or something, or someone, because that would be kind of, I guess, the equivalent in this show, because Hwasa was kind of one that everyone was like in love with in the show, like everyone loved Hwasa.
I do wonder what the process will be about how they're going to select the units and stuff. Like, if we have the same kind of bit that we had where they have to choose themselves, and we have everyone fighting over wanting to be with Hyolyn, like, there's certainly potential for good entertainment. It means we're going to have to, we'll probably end up waiting a while, because we won't get all of the round 3 performances done for probably 3 or 4 episodes. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Well, in between, maybe you guys might see something interesting that me and Oliver were talking about doing for a podcast episode. So,
yeah.
In between waiting.
yeah.
Overall, I am really the cover round was something I looked forward to. It didn't quite meet my expectations.
Yeah.
Overall, I probably am more excited about what we're talking about right now, the upcoming kind of dance and vocal rounds, because that's kind of the stuff that's really fun about Queendom. Like, the groups cross collabing and doing, like, because you don't get to see it otherwise, Seeing
it and them interacting and hanging out and becoming friends, and the stuff that can form from that is really cool to see.
I do think this will be Chu's chance to collect all her wives. She's going through, maybe she'll be the one everyone's trying to pick, she'll just throw some Aegyo in the room, and then it'll be like...
It wouldn't be hard for Chu, to be honest.
No. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what ends up happening in the cover rounds. It'll be cool. I guess that's really it. Did we kind of finalize? So the final tier of it all was, for me, was Hyolyn, then Luna, then Brave Girls, WJSN, Vivis, Kepler.
Yeah, same for me.
Same for you, yeah. So this is like, we got very close to having the same list in the other episodes. It was usually WJSN's being first or second was the difference. But I guess that's...
I think, for me, I think for you said that the WJSN and Brave Girls are perhaps like quite close to being interchangeable for you. For me, it's more Vivis and WJSN are closer to being interchangeable for me.
Gotcha, yeah.
But,
I could see that because of the structure of Novelera that they did and stuff. Yeah, I just have, I am very biased towards WJSN and Luna in every episode of this. That should be known. I love both groups, and will probably be much more leaning towards them.
You know what's funny as well is that both WJSN and Luna obviously have like the space concept, right? The moon and cosmics concept.
Because they were cosmic girls.
Yeah,
so, like,
cosmic girls. Which just only literally means like universe girls, or like but Unha's name literally translates to galaxy. So maybe it's all connected.
Yeah, it's the Illuminati.
Yeah, and Kepler is an astronaut, right?
Yeah, they are actually the only one is Hyolyn and Brave Girls are the only ones who don't have any kind of space theme to them, huh?
That we know of. Who knows? It could be all
Wait for the final episode. Hyolyn's just gonna roll out in an astronaut outfit.
It's actually in zero gravity. She performs from space.
Dude, I'd believe it at this point. The way she's been killing it.
Yeah.
Well, that is our episode 3, round 3. Let's say no. Is that correct?
Round 2. No,
round 2 review. Why am I so terrible at this? Round 2 review of Queendom 2. Okay, the intro rounds having happened is what messes all my brain up. Round 2 review. I'm Honan.
I'm Oliver.